Hi everyone. In this video, we will discuss trend following strategy, and this strategy is similar to the one I made a few weeks ago about coding a simple trading robot, where we had price crossing above a simple moving average. But in this video, I would like to show you a strategy that is using the crossover of two simple moving averages, and then we'll backtest the strategy. Here we have a nice example on D40 where the blue line crosses the red line, and this would trigger a buy signal. And here then we have a very nice trend, and after the blue line crosses below the red line, this will be our exit signal. As you can see, the trend following strategies do not have any limit on your profits, so you can allow trends to develop, and this allows you to capture the big moves. So if you prefer to wait for the ideal trends, or you're expecting the markets to go in a very directional way, this is a good strategy to automate the trend following mindset or ideology. So let's now go to our Jupyter notebook and show you how to code the simple moving average crossover strategy, and we will also backtest it on some symbols to see how it performed. Okay, so we are here in our Jupyter notebook environment, and let's start coding the strategy and backtest it. So as usual, let me import MetaTrader 5 as MT, MT5, and then we import pandas as PD. Then we will also import plotly, import plotly.express SPX, and I think so far that's all we need. So let's connect the platform MT5 with MT5.initialize, and this will connect to our IC Markets platform where we can request the prices. So here I just add a command connect to MetaTrader 5 MetaTrader 5 as MT5. So let's run this. And then the next thing we're going to do is request the historical prices. I'm going to choose the DAX, the German stock index today. So here we will be requesting historical data. And to request the data, we will use mt5.copyrate from position, and this is the E40 actually, right? The DAX recently added 10 new stocks, so it's actually the E40 now. And let me use the daily time frame, so mt5 dot time frame D1. The starting position is 0, and let's request prices for the last 1000 days. So let's see what this returns. So we have an array of prices here, and let me add that to pandas data frame. So df is equal pd dot data frame, and here we add the list of values. So if you run df, we get something like this. And so we have time, open, high, low, close. This is great. For this video, I will actually only need time, open, high, low, close. I won't be using tick volume, spread, or real volume. For backtest, you can also use the spreads to calculate how much you would pay, but to simplify this video, let's just use this. So let's run this. So now we only have the columns that we've specified, and also let's convert this time column, this timestamp column, to date time, and we do that by using that column, and that's equal to time pandas date to date time. Okay. Also, we don't need the milliseconds actually, so let me change the unit to seconds. Great. And yeah, so now we have all data we need. Let's visualize close prices to see what the prices look like, and we visualize the prices with Plotly Express. So px.line, here we pass the data frame, and on the x-axis we'll have the time values, and on the y-axis we will have the close prices. So let's see what this returns. Okay, so yeah, this is great. So these are the DAX close prices starting from 2018 until today. So the DAX has been moving around 13 to 10,500 at the beginning. Then we had a major drop here. This was during the COVID crisis, and now prices are returning back up, and actually we are now hitting the all-time highs. So this is very interesting, and we see some good profit potential, for example here, where we have a very nice uptrend, and also we have mainly the biggest profit potential, which is actually here after the big drop. So buying DAX during this period would have been very profitable for bullish traders. And so let's also add some moving averages on this chart. And to calculate the moving average, we go here. And let me actually define the slow SMA. And let's actually just think of any numbers, and we can then change them later during the backtest. So slow SMA is equal to df close, and then here we apply actually no, let's not apply, I meant rolling. So we are taking a certain period of the close prices, and let's say the slow SMA has period 100, and then we calculate the mean value, which would be this. Okay, so now we have the slow SMA values here, and if we add this to our Y column, we should be able to see our simple moving average. So it is this one. Okay, it seems that I have an error here. Let's see what errors we have. All arguments share the same length. Y is 2, whereas like, okay, let me, oh, I see now. So I used the wrong name of the column. So this is the slow moving average, and let's also create a fast moving average. So fast SMA, and let's set this one to 10. Right, let's run this. So now we also have fast SMA, and the next thing we do is we also want to add this to the plot. Okay. So great. So we have the fast moving average, which is the red one, and the slow moving average, which is the red one. So we have all the indicators we need to generate the signals, and let's proceed to the backtest. Before that, let me actually just make the code a little bit more nicer to work with, and let's create a cell with some settings. So instead of having defined everything here, which might be a little bit confusing when you want to adjust some settings, uh, let's define the variables actually here. So df is de40, the time frame is mt5 dot time frame d1, and here we have the start position of our candles, which is 0, and I want to request number of bars, and this is 1000. Okay, so we can replace that, and whenever we want to change this in the future, we only have to go to this cell here to update the settings. Okay, this is great. And then for the fast and slow moving SMA, we will also create the periods. So for fast, I will use FSMA period, and I will set to 10, which is this value. And for slow SMA period, so SSMA period is equal to 100. Let's now replace this with this and this with this, right? So this is great. So now we have everything in one cell, and here I have a typo, so this should be a time frame. Great. And let's run the rest. Okay, so everything's working. So let's now try to find the crossovers. And to find the crossovers, we have to see when, for example here, right? So crossover is nothing more than when the previous value was, for example, higher, and now the next value is lower, that is a bearish crossover. And when the fast SMA went from lower to higher, that's a bullish crossover. So somehow we have to be able to find this using pandas, and we actually how we can find the crossover is maybe using the shift values, right? So let's, for example, shift the fast SMA, and if we have the previous fast SMA is lower and the current is higher, that would actually be the definition of a crossover. Great. So now you now know how to do it. So let's code it. Finding crossovers. Let's put it above so we can later plot it. So or we can yeah, let's leave it as it is. Finding crossovers, let's take the data frame and create a new column, and let's call this new column previous fast SMA. So we will look at the previous values of the SMA and compare them with the slow SMA, and this is equal to the F fast SMA dot shift, and we shift it down by one row, so we will be able to see the previous fast SMA. And let me show you what our data frame now looks like, and this is it. So we can see on this row, for example, so here on the 9th of November 2021, the fast SMA value was 15,900. The slow was 15,624, and this is the previous value which you can find here. So let's go back to the logic. So if this value is lower, and this value lower than the slow SMA, and this value is greater than slow SMA, it's a crossover, it's a bullish crossover. And if it's the other way around, then it's a bearish crossover. So now that we have the previous fast SMA values, let's create a function. So define, let's call this function find crossover. So find crossover, and we take the fast, the parameters will be fast SMA, then we take the previous fast SMA, and then the slow SMA. So if the fast SMA is greater than the slow SMA, and if the previous fast SMA is less than the slow SMA, then it is the bullish crossover. So so we would return bullish crossover. And for the bearish crossovers, we can use the same logic here, just invert the comparators. So now if the fast SMA is below the slow SMA, we will return a bearish crossover. If there are no conditions are met, then we will return none. And now let's calculate our crossover column. So this will be df crossover. And to create a crossover column, we will need numpy.vectorize. And so what we will use is np.vectorize. And to use vectorize, we simply pass in the function and then the columns which represent these inputs. So it would be df fast SMA, then df slow SMA, and then use df, actually this one is the previous fast SMA, and this one is the slow SMA. So let's look at the results. And we see a runtime warning that we have some invalid values. This must be these non-values that we have when we are calculating the fast and slow SMA, because the first values are non-values. So to fix that, we can use df.drop non-values, and here we can set in place equal to true. And actually, let's do it here in the previous one here. Okay, so now we are getting rid of the non-values, and this should get rid of the error. Okay, let's try again. Oh, and we created a shift, right? So that's why we also have to get rid of that here. Okay, so now we got rid of the error. And let's find all the bullish crossovers. And to find the bullish crossovers, we can simply look at the df, where the crossover column is equal to bullish crossover. That's great. So now we have all the bullish signals here. Let me also create save this in a signal data frame, and then I will create a copy of this, and we can just print it here as usual. Okay, next thing we want to do is we want to plot our crossover signals. And to plot the signals, we will use vertical lines. So here we have our chart with the close, fast SMA, slow SMA. And to add this, let's first save this figure into a variable called fig. And then we will loop through each individual loop here, which will be our bullish signal. So for index and data, we can also call it row in signal dot iter rows. So let me show you it does. So print row should be like this. It will print the data of each row of my data frame. And to add the vertical line, we will use fig dot add vline with x is equal to row dot time. So it will plot the vertical lines on our fig. So if we now do fig dot show, here we see all the buy signals on our chart, right? So here we have the red line crossing above the green line, which is our crossover. So this is our buy signal. Okay, so let's now get to backtesting and see how this strategy would perform by buying whenever we cross above and selling when it crosses below the slow moving average. To create a backtest, I've copied some classes that I've made in my previous videos, and the classes are class position and class strategy. Here in class position, you can open or close positions, so you can create a position with open date time, open price, which will simulate the trading activity. We have methods such as closing positions, and we can also return the results as a dictionary. In class strategy, we are basically initializing the starting balance of our trading account and specifying the volume what we're trading. And also we're adding the data frame with the historical data and our signal columns. So that way we can know when to buy and when to sell. We have methods such as get positions df, which will return the number of positions. As you can see, we have self dot positions, which contains is a list of position classes that we can append using the method add position. And here, all you have to do is inside the define run, you have to define the logic of the strategy. So the logic of the strategy is if so for I data in self dot data dot iteros. So we are iterating through our data frame on D40. If the crossover value is equal to bullish crossover, then we're adding a position, and the position we're adding is the position class with the parameters time, close, by the volume, which is specified during initializable strategy, and also take profit and stop loss. You can check up here what you have to pass in. So this is the open date time, open price, or try volume, stop loss, and take profit. So after adding a position, we then also have to check when to close the position. And to close a position, we can create another if statement. So if data.crossover is equal to bearish crossover, we can then use the close position method of the position class to close it for a certain date and for a certain price. And to close all the bullish positions, we can use a loop again. So for position in self.positions, remember that our positions are saved in the positions list here. So self.positions, we will close the trade. So positions dot, and here we will close the position. Position dot close position. And what we also have to check is if position dot status is equal to open. So we can only close open positions. And to close a position, we need a close date time, close price, and we will use the current date time and the current price. So this should be it. So this is the logic of our strategy. Let's run this to see if we have no errors. So here I instantiated the class SMA crossover strategy, which is taking the data frame and the initial capital of 10,000. And the result will then be saved in the result variable here after running the strategy using run. And let's also display the result. Okay, we have one missing argument, which is the volume. So we want to trade one contract. So I forgot to add that here. And this is the resulting data frame. So let's plot the results and see how this backtest performed. So first, let's look at the P&L. So if we want to look how the P&L changed, so we can use Plotly Express and show the line chart PX line with the result X is equal to close date time. So these are, the close date time of our positions that we've placed, and Y is equal to P&L. So we see that we've made some losses in the beginning, like here. Then we made a profit, then a loss, then some small profit again, and then we had a very big profit up here, which would have earned 891 euros. So let's also plot the result on our figure. So to visualize the trades, we're using the figure object with the close prices, fast SMA and slow SMA. And here we are iterating through the close trades of our result data frame. And if profit is greater than 0, we want to add a green line of the trade. And if profit is less than 0, we want to add a red line of the trade, which would represent a loss. So this is what the result looks like. So here we can immediately see on the chart that we have a loss here, a loss here, a profit here, a loss here, a profit, a small profit here, and a big profit here. All right, so this is how you code a simple moving average crossroad strategy and then backtest it. We see that most of your trades are going to be either losers or small profits, but eventually big trends do come, and when the big trends come, you will make a lot of money during this time. So I thank you very much for watching and your attention. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And if you've enjoyed the video, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back with another video.